Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I apologize. I think we're about 2 minutes late. We might be 3 minutes late. But anyway, we're late because Chris and I have been discussing all sorts of plans and ideas of things that, we feel that people would like to know about and would like to hear. We'll discuss that. We'll talk a little bit about that later on in the show. But before we begin, first of all, I should like to say, excuse me, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Gregor, who is right next to me. As always, to my right side, I'd like to say good morning to Chris, and I'd like to say good morning to all of you guys out there who have joined us. And I just would like to just talk very briefly, giving people a chance to log on. I would like to say very briefly, I've had so many happy birthday emails. I've had, and I feel I like to, my birthday is on the 19th of May, right? And I always like to do, a long birthday. Why should it only be one day? We always, my daughter and I, even when she was little, we always stretch the birthday, and we would stretch the birthday maybe sort of 1 or 2 days beforehand. We might go to the park for a picnic, for a birthday picnic. We might go to a show or do something special, go to the movies. We might just have a special night with popcorn, watching a movie. But we would, try and start sort of at least a day or two before the birthday, and then we'd stretch it out, and it would be the birthday week. So we would do something a little bit special, a little bit different. Maybe it would be a school night, and I'd let her stay up a little bit longer, or maybe it wouldn't have to be sort of any financial burden of any kind. But I do think that celebrating the day of our birth is great, and of course those of us who have children and grandchildren, we'd love to do that. I always start off with Samantha's birthday. I always start off the day before by calling her up, and I might call her up at, say, I don't know, 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and I start off with, oh gosh, darling, I'm having such awful stomach pains, and then I start to go through the labor and all the rest of it, and we giggle about it, we laugh about it. The first time that was when Reese was old enough to hear me say, I've got such awful tummy ache, he was so concerned. He looked at his mummy, and she was laughing, and he said, but Mosie's not very well. Mosie's got awful tummy ache. And Samantha would say, no, she's just reenacting the episode of giving birth. And trust me, I was, when I had my daughter, I was on literally 9-month bed rest with wonderful, I had to have injections every week with a big giant needle shoved in my butt. And I mean, I was not allowed even to get out of bed to pee. And then when my doctor finally said, I think I was about 7.5, 8 months pregnant, he came to me and he said, okay, you can get out of bed. You are free. You can do anything you like. You can jump, you can run, you do anything you like, because if you have this baby now, it's okay. I was out of bed for a whole day, so excited. It was actually an Easter Tuesday. There was a big affair going on in the local town, and it was my first, I was so excited, my first prenatal visit to an actual hospital. And so I arrived there. My neighbor was also expecting, she was expecting her baby a couple of days after I think I was expecting Samantha. And, there I was, and sort of went in and was so excited. And then by the time the nurse had finished talking to me, I wasn't quite so excited. She was asking me all sorts of odd questions. What did you do today? Have you, done it? Did you have a hot bath this morning? And on and on. Anyway, so I had this one free day, and I had planned then to meet my neighbors to go to this Easter fair. And yes, well, I never made it, because the next thing I was in a wheelchair and they were racing me to the quiet ward. They called it the quiet ward. There were only 4 beds in this ward, and everybody had to be totally silent, quiet. And anyway, I had toxemia and preeclampsia, and I wasn't allowed to get out of bed again until I had Samantha. So I had a whole day of freedom in my 9 and however many extra days we had, and it was awful. Anyway, so where are we? Birthday. So I would like to say thank you to all of you who have sent me birthday gifts, and thank you, Eric. I got the card yesterday with a little butterfly on there. So thoughtful, so nice. Thank you for that, and thank you to all of you well wishers. And we are going to maybe do something. I don't know quite what, but we're maybe going to do something special for my birthday, which is on the 19th, but it is Mother's Day on the 10th. So it's Mother's Day this coming Sunday, everyone. And so, I think we should talk about how precious mothers can be, or not. Anyway, Chris, I've talked enough. Is there anybody there? Do we have anybody?
We do.
What's going on here?
A lot of people are commenting on your outfit today, Rosemary, and saying how wonderful you look.
Oh.
They love your outfit.
It's just a cheap black top, everybody. It's so funny because, Chris, I'm going to tell people, the first thing you said to me was, "You're looking really nice today." Well, let me just explain something to everyone. I put on this because it's easy. I do have some peach pants on that you can't see, but anyway, and I was rushing and racing, so I got a comb and I did this like that with the comb, and here I am. Oh, I did put a little makeup on my eyes. I never put makeup on my face at all, but I always put a little bit on my eyes, and I do have on a very red lipstick. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, so thank you to everybody, and let's be clear now. Okay, the chat room is there for a reason, and so we just mentioned talking about mothers. I'm not going to talk about my mother because it's a happy day. Every day is May. It's my birthday month. I have so many flowers coming out in my garden. I'm so excited about all my new flower gardens, which my lovely lawnmower guy put in for me. He's my landscaping guy. And there's so many flowers, and it's so beautiful. And I sort of did a design of pinks and yellows, and they are, oh gosh, they're looking so good. Except one little one is not, poor little thing, is not doing so well. So we're going to have to do a little bit of doctoring with that. Anyway, other than that, it's May. Isn't May a gorgeous month because you've got all of the apple blossoms coming out on the trees. I know in England, there's a town in the north of England, and it's called Harrogate. And Harrogate is a beautiful place. And as you drive in, it's sort of very wide roads as you drive in. And everywhere you look, there are cherry blossoms and apple blossoms and peach blossoms and the beautiful trees. And they are filled with blossoms of, pale pinks and whites and absolutely. This is the most gorgeous time of year to be going to Harrogate, and I do miss that. But anyway, May is our fabulous month. It's my favorite month of the year because it is, after all, my birthday. And who knew Mother's Day was going to be in May also? So I want to hear from you about your mom, your mummies. In America it's mom, hey mom. In England it's hey mum, M-U-M, and or mummy. Did you have a nice mummy? What did you do, or what are you going to do for your mother on Mother's Day? I know that my grandson's making his mummy a card, a beautiful Mother's Day card. He better be anyway. That's all I can say. And it's such a great time of year. So I'd like to hear from you all. Not just about whether you love May, but what is your favorite time of year? Maybe you have a favorite time of year. Christmas is, I'm sort of thinking in the back of my mind, Christmas is another time of year, isn't it, that we can get all kind of gooey and excited about. Chris, any questions, any comments? What have we got?
Well, Leslie came on real early saying, "Good morning. I work at an animal rescue that is in desperate need of help, and now I've injured my leg. Do you see a speedy recovery for me and or more help?"
Well, Leslie, thank you for joining us, and let's see what we can do. I mean, what happened with your leg? I mean, if you have a break, I'm going to recommend Comfrey. That's Comfrey. Comfrey tea is great for it. The Comfrey poultices are great. Years and years ago, Comfrey grows like a weed in most English gardens and probably in the States as well, in certain areas. And years ago, sometimes the old remedies are the best. And years ago, Comfrey, it's a plant, it sort of grows, it almost looks like nettles or, but anyway, it's tall and leafy and, usually grows in shady spots. It was called years ago, I'm going back into the early 1900s, and maybe even before then, it was called old knit bone. And people used to sort of gather the leaves together and steep them in hot water and make a poultice and put it on the injured break. And nowadays, of course, you can buy pills. You can buy Comfrey pills. You can buy Comfrey tea. I used to make Comfrey tea quite regularly because it's also good for stomach ailments, stomach pains, and so on. But it's supposed to have such great healing properties for broken bones, and I do believe that it works. But yes, it was called old knit bone. One of these days, maybe we should have a conversation about all of the old remedies that, all we have to do is grow stuff in the garden or go into our pantry and see what's in the pantry and see what kind of foods we've got, because there's so many remedies that that we used to use years ago without spending any money whatsoever. Now we have to go to the pharmacy and spend a fortune on something that we could maybe even make at home. But yes, Comfrey's old knit bone. But I want to know, what did you do with your leg? And besides that, we are going to, if you could make a little note, Chris, we're going to put you in our healing book and we're going to send you healing. And so as we send you healing, hopefully your recovery will be speedier. Chris.
All right. Sabrina's saying happy birthday to you, Rosemary, and says, thank you for all of your wonderful teachings. You have helped me understand my mediumship skills during a time it wasn't very acceptable.
Oh, good. Well, good. Hey, yay, that's exciting. I think that's a perfect moment to talk about what we're actually, do we know what we're planning to do quite yet, Chris?
I think we're pretty close.
Right. So why don't we briefly mention that, because people can sign up now, I think. But we are doing a sort of, what are we doing, Chris? Describe it.
Rosemary Altea and Gray Eagle speaks.
Speak.
Speak.
On the end, yeah. What we're doing is that let me explain this a little bit. What we're going to be doing is, and we're going to be talking about many different topics, and some of those topics will be topics of the day, maybe something that happened in the news, or something, certain people make certain decisions. We've got politicians who make decisions about different things, and we've got, doctors and nurses. We've got all of those people who are sort of, let's say, running the country. Then we've got all of these people who are, let's say, what we're calling them illegal aliens, people who come into this country who don't have passports, etc. We're going to be talking not just about things we can learn about, spiritual things, and how we can enhance our energy, although we are going to be talking about those things as well. But we're also going to be taking sort of things that happen in daily life, and Gregor and I are going to be giving our opinion. And of course, I know this might sound odd to people, but when people think about myself and my spirit guide, sometimes people think that, I'm just the mouthpiece, that I don't have my own opinions. But that's actually not true, because Gregor and I will often have discussions about different things, and he will, often show me different perspectives of things, or show me how to think differently about certain things, or make suggestions. So between the two of us, we're going to be having conversations about things that are very, very much the things that we should be more spiritually aware of. Very much we're going to be talking about, how we can enhance our energy, our behavior, other people's behavior. But we're also going to be talking about sort of local, no, that's not right, world events and local events that happen. And I'm also going to be talking about things that happened to me. For instance, the other day I was, driving, going somewhere, and the amount of bullies on the road. And here we are, we're a society, and all over the world, we talk about, let's stop bullying. And if there is one place in the world where bullying goes on, it's definitely on the road, because people just seem to think that they can just do whatever they like, cut people off, so on and so forth. I mean, so I'm going to be talking about things that may happen to me, or maybe that I've observed, that we might want to take a little look at, and to take a more spiritual point of view. And Gregor is going to be helping us to, hopefully, to do that. So we're going to have sort of once weekly. It's going to be Gregor and I, and talking and so on, about different things, and of course about spiritual awareness as well. Of course, you can't talk to us without that. But we're going to have a subscription. So people are going to be asked to pay a small subscription to join in. And then sort of we're going to do one a week we're thinking for 3 weeks. And then on the 4th week, we're going to have people coming on Zoom and being able to either, come on video or just the voice and ask questions or make comments about the things that you're hearing and the things that we're talking about, which I think is going to be a fun thing to do. If you are interested in anything like that, I think we pretty much decided that the subscription fee will be $20 a month, $19.99 or whatever it is, which is like $5 a week. And for that, you'll be able to tune in, you'll be able to listen to what we talk about, and you'll also be able to participate as well. I think, did I do that well enough, Chris? Have I kind of just described what we're planning on doing here?
Yeah, basically, people will be invited to become part of your subscription program, in which case they will get one video a week on a specific topic. We're thinking Thursdays. It will be released, let's say, the first Thursday of the month, and then the second Thursday, and then the third Thursday, and then the fourth Thursday, we'll have a Zoom that anybody who can make it shows up and asks questions specific to the subject matter of that month that they received.
I also want to point out that you don't need to be physically present for these events. You'll be able to access them at any time of the day or night. So, if you work, it's not going to affect you. You'll be able to access those, those things sort of at any time. So if you'd like to become a member of our subscription program, you need to just write in Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. That's right, Chris, right?
Yes.
And in the subject line, if you just put in membership or subscription, or so we can sort through, because you can imagine we get a lot of emails. So if you can do that, we can sort of sort that out for you. And we're probably going to be starting this. The starting date is either going to be June or July. We're thinking probably July, because that gives people a chance to get together. It gives us a chance to organize everything that we need to get done. And so, so if you would like to be a member of that, all you have to do is go to the website or email us, Chris at rosemaryaltea.com, and or Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, and Chris will let you know how that works. You can opt out of it anytime you like. You'll be asked to be paying just under $20 a month. You can opt out of it. It's, you're not signing your life away with it. But I think we try to make it affordable, because it's like $5 a week, and in a 5-week month, it's actually less than $5 a week. And we're trying to make it as affordable for people as we possibly can. But we want to also make it really interesting. So Grey Eagle and I will be talking on a variety of topics. And also, I think it's very important that we try to figure out, if we look at the world as it is today, and we see the anger and the bitterness, and this is why we decided to do this, because the world is going crazy for a variety of reasons, and there's so much hatred and there's so much meanness going on. And how do we retain our spirituality? How can we survive in today's world in a spiritual way? You've most of you have heard me say, there's a great quote by Teilhard de Chardin, which is, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, which is very true. And we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I like to add on to that quote, it's just my thought process. Yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, but how do we do that in a world in the world that we live in now? How can we do that in a spiritual way? And this is why Gregor and I are going to be, talking to you guys. We're going to be, sort of doing this program. We're going to try it out and see how it goes. But I think that we all need help and guidance to live our lives as best we can in a spiritual way, because it is important, isn't it? Gregor always says that our world needs gentleness, and that's sometimes it's so hard to do. Sometimes it's very hard to be a gentle person in a world, in a town, in a supermarket, in a restaurant where we see awful things happening. It's very hard for us to sort of retain that gentleness and that whole sort of thought process of living in a spiritual way. So we are going to do this. So if you would like to become a member and you want to know how to subscribe to this program, again, either email Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com or go to the website and we'll direct you as to where you need to go and how you need to become a part of this. Okay, Chris. Maybe we've got comments. Maybe people think it's a good idea. Maybe people think it's not a good idea. I mean, it's hard. It's hard when, it's hard for me because, we do these Thursday shows and we don't charge anything, and we do, lots of other things. And I try not to charge because I think it's fair when you have something that's special to share it. But at the same time, I have to pay my bills, you have to pay your bills, we do have to eat. We do have to make sure the debt collector does not come knocking at the door. But let's share in a way that is affordable for everyone.
Well, not only that, Rosemary, this is exclusive content. This is not something that's up on YouTube or anything else. This is for your family here of listeners.
That's right. It's just purely if you are a member. This is purely for you, purely for you to access. So so yes, I like the word exclusive. Anyway, go ahead. All right, what's going on?
All right? So Chloe says, "Great idea." Barb says, "Is anything going on with Gray Eagle's book? She's so looking forward to that." Gray Eagle, please give Rosemary a little push.
Oh, I like that. Well, actually, I was right into that book yesterday, you'll be pleased to know. And we're doing this, the Rosemary Altea and Gray Eagle Speak. We're doing this as sort of as a precursor because next year is a very big birthday for me, a huge birthday for me. What will I be, 60 or something? Anyway.
39.
No, it's a big birthday next year. And we thought that, that would be, so be patient because we are working on it. And what we're doing here with these subscriptions is sort of the precursor, because a lot of people don't know how Gray Eagle and I work together. They don't understand how it happens. And as we're doing this, and as we're sort of, building this, I don't know even what to call it. As we're building this relationship and allowing you glimpses of this, more than glimpses of this relationship, you'll see how we work together, and you'll see how it works between us. You will see, I mean, as I've said, people think that, all I'm doing is repeating what Grey Eagle is saying. People don't think, I've got a mind of my own. And I can remember, oh gosh, so many years ago, years and years ago, I was in an audience of about 2,000 people, and it was great. We gave lots of messages from the spirit world. We talked about spirituality. We talked about, how important it is to live our faith, and it's easy to have faith, not so easy to live faith. And but as happens with all of the things that I do, I have a British sense of humour. I'm sorry if I offend anybody, but the British sense of humour is the best. It's slightly, I don't know what you'd call it. It's just so great. And at the end of the show, people were laughing and people were crying, people were having a good time one way or another. And then at the end of the show, somebody came up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, Grey Eagle has such a great sense of humour. And some of the jokes he told, some of the things he said." And at first I thought, hold on, what about me? And it is understandable, because people think that when I'm talking, everything that I'm saying is coming out of Grey Eagle's mouth and into mine. And that is not how it works at all. We have a relationship, and sometimes we have not exactly disagreements, but I'll think of something one way and he'll say something to me, and I'll say yes, but what about that, this, then how do we feel about this and this? And this is how we interact. So what we're doing here is giving people the opportunity to see the two of us and how we interact and how we work together, and it should be fun. So you're kind of getting a glimpse into my personal life with my spirit guide, and actually I think you're going to be getting more than a glimpse, because sometimes you'll see that I might disagree until he points out maybe something I have to think about, and he doesn't give me the answers to every question. He often will say to me, "You work it out, you figure it out, that's your job. It's my job to guide you, but it's not my job to tell you what to say or what to think." So it's so anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing. Chris.
Sabrina says, my mother passed on Mother's Day 2 years ago.
Oh.
I miss her, but I see and hear her often. She is the one who gave me your first book when I was 18. I'm grateful for her open mind. So
Oh,
happy Mother's Day to you.
yay, and happy Mother's Day to you too. And I'm sure that your mummy is watching over you even as we speak. Isn't that great that she gave you my book? I love that. Chris.
Andrea says, hi, Rosemary and Grey Eagle. I'd like to thank you both for last week's surprise birthday gift, my father's visit. I showed the episode to my son. His birthday is this Sunday. He's turning 12. Okay, I knew she had a continuing here. He loved it so much, he's been asking to watch it every evening, but he doesn't understand death yet. Also, he doesn't understand who Grey Eagle is.
Okay, well, I can help you with that. Okay, because my grandson is 12. He was 12 in February. And he has had the advantage of having his mother, who grew up with me. We're also going to have her doing some stuff as well. She's going to be talking about what it was like to grow up with me. Can you imagine how awful that must have been? Anyway, so we've been talking to Grey Eagle. We've been talking to Reese for a long time, and he has known about Grey Eagle since he could think, because it is part of our lives. This is what we're talking about here. we are spiritual beings having a human experience in a spiritual way. And I think it's very important for us. And I think one of the topics that we should be talking about, Grey Eagle and I, will be how do we bring our children into this, and how do we talk to them, and how do we educate them so that this is not a new subject for them. This is something that is, you know, ordinary and everyday for them. My grandson, I think it started years ago, and Halloween and you know, ghosts and getting dressed up and all that spooky stuff. And my daughter, fortunately, you know, she's very open-minded. You know, she's my daughter. What can I tell you? She said to Reese, "Well, look, Mosey," that's, he calls me Mosey. Mosey knows these things. She can explain better than me. So why don't we call her up and ask her?" Now, if your grandson, if you were, for instance, watching what we've just been talking about, and you had a membership and you could join in with this, we're not going to say anything at all in these things that children should not hear. We're going to be talking about death, life after death. We're going to be talking about, you know, spirituality, and that we're souls and so on. And I think it's important that we teach our children these things. And so, you know, if you wanted to include your children or your grandchildren, then that's great, because this gives them an opportunity to ask questions of me and of Grey Eagle that they wouldn't, that perhaps you might not be able to answer, but we could. My grandson, every time he plays at Carnegie, and he's played at Carnegie Hall now 3 times, he's brilliant, by the way, just 12 in February. When he plays there, he knows that he has with him, he has his silly grandpa, who is my father. He has Grey Eagle, and he knows that they're going to be with him on stage. And he doesn't just think it, he knows it. It's innate within him. He knows, and he's seen these things. He is a healer. He gives healing. When I'm sick, he sends healing to me. I think it's important to us that we teach our children these things so that it becomes part of their everyday life. And, you know, when you said, you know, your grandson does not know what death is, well, we don't die. And I think it's important that we don't die. One of the things I might suggest that you might want to allow him to read, or to read to him some of the things from my first book, The Eagle and the Rose, that might help him to understand. Although watching shows and, you know, watching this type of thing is also really, really good for him. And it's not that we want to indoctrinate children into our beliefs and our way of thinking. What my daughter and I try to do with Reese is we always, and I've always done this with Samantha, just because I believe it, just because we believe in this, doesn't mean that you have to. And we give our children opportunities to think for themselves, to experience for themselves, and to eventually, as they get older, make up their own mind as to whether or not this is something that they want to accept or reject. So we're not indoctrinating our children, we're simply educating children, we're educating ourselves to understand that, you know, we are spiritual beings here on this earth having this human experience. And it's important, I think, to teach our children that we need to, and to teach ourselves, and to teach all those crazy people who are filled with hatred for one reason or another. I think it's important that we teach people to gentleness and kindness, and to behave in a spiritual way. If our angels were watching us, watching over us, how would we want them to see us? How would we want them to perceive us? And the truth is, our angels are watching over us, and it's important for us to make sure, I think, that we do our very best and fail as often as we can, but to try and do our very best to live in a spiritual way. Chris.
Dean is on. He's saying, "Hi, all. It's my birthday month, too. Born on Mother's Day. Nice present, right?"
Happy birthday. Yeah, very nice. Very nice present for your mummy.
Keep me on the healing list for surgery on my birthday on the 13th, please.
Yeah, you're on the list. We, of course, you don't have to keep you on there. You're on it, baby. And just please get back to us. Tell us how it goes. All right, Chris.
In a similar vein, Mark is saying, "I wish I could be with my mom in heaven. I miss her awful. May and June are my favorites, for I'm a June 3rd baby, born
Aw.
on a Saturday. My mom and dad were going to a fireman's ball on June 3rd, 1961, ended up in hospital at 5:39 p.m., delivering another kind of ball. Laugh out loud."
Well, that's a great story, Mark. That's a fantastic story. So dramatic. And so, you entered this world in such a powerful way. So that's a great story. I like it.
Gary says, "My mom is my family. She's 95. I'm taking her to lunch today. Already gave her 2 hanging fuchsias."
Oh, lovely. I love fuchsias. I think they're great. Um, oh, how nice. How very nice. Can you just let her know that, tell her I love her very much. I miss her, and a happy Mother's Day to her, Gary, please, from me. Chris.
Eric is wondering, does pain energy have a color?
Oh,
Will music energy help treating pain?
yes. Well, yes, and yes. I did get your email. I think I read it yesterday. I think that's a question for, when we're still going to be doing our teachings and so on through the week. And I think that's definitely a question for that. But yes, colors are very important to us. And as healers, I try to teach my students as healers the different types of energy, color energy, and we can use color energy to create, wonderful healing. The color blue, for instance, is the universal healing color. The color pink is the color of love. Each color has a certain type of energy. But I think your question to me in the email was, what is the color of pain? And, I'm not sure that it is any one particular color, but certainly when you're looking at someone's aura, if I'm looking at someone's aura and I'm seeing all of the different colors, you can actually see, for instance, if you were to look at me, my right shoulder is a complete and utter mess. It's been that way for years. But, we live with it. But if it was looking at myself, for instance, and I would see that my shoulder and the energy and the colors around that part of my physical body are not as, let's say, not as bright or not as clear. They're certainly dulled and somewhat sort of grayish in tinge, but it's far too simple. It's a far more complicated subject than that. So basically, of course, my daughter is the one to talk about color and clothing and what you should keep in your wardrobe and what you should haul out of your closet. Don't wear this or do wear that. I'm going to be doing a mother-daughter thing at some point. Yes, that should be fun, right? You'll get to meet my daughter and you'll get to hear all of her opinions. Oh, I'm not sure that's going to be a good idea for me, but anyway, we're going to be doing that at some point also. See how exciting things are getting? Right, Chris, keep going.
Judith was saying that plants are a wonderful gift for her anyway, and she's looking forward to the new group and Gray Eagle.
Well, good. Glad to hear it. Okay, keep going, Chris.
Adamanta is saying, I'd like to talk to Rosemary to see if she could contact my father, who passed away on the 26th of April.
Okay, well, I think, in situations like this, I think that we're talking much more about making an appointment for a consultation, because unfortunately with these, especially with our Thursday show, we have so many people, so many questions, so many people wanting to know so many things, that it's very hard for us to, to sort of, we do occasionally do that, but I think in order to do this sort of in a deeper way, in a more thorough way, I think you might want to consider having a consultation. And if you want to know more about that, again, email the office, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. How can you forget that? It's so simple, right? rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. And in the subject line, if you just write in consultation, then Chris will know to where to put it and how to deal with it in a much more timely manner.
Judith says she just got out of the hospital yet again. No good news. I would love to have a health boost. Rosemary said I would be fine, but I'm ready for being fine. Thanks, Doc.
Judith, I said you would be fine, and you sound fine to me. Now, fine does not mean 100%. I was at the doctor's very recently, okay, actually a few days ago, and she was asking me, and how are you feeling and what's going on? And I was telling her I'm great and I feel the best I've felt in a long while, and so on and so forth. And she gave me that look. She looked at me and she said, here's the problem that I have with you, Rosemary. And I said, and what's that? I started laughing. She said, you're not a complainer. So I never know what's going on. So I want you to tell me. So I said, okay, I'll give you one. My shoulder. So we did the up and down and moving around and so on and so forth. The only thing was I couldn't bend my shoulder on my back. But every single night when I'm going to complain to you now, every single night when I go to bed and I lay on my right side because it's the most comfortable, but my shoulder is so painful. But if you ask me how I am, I'm fine, because I've lived with this for at least 20-30 years. I put my shoulder out and it's never been the same since. When I say you'll be fine doesn't mean you'll be perfect, and the older we get, unfortunately, the creakier we get, the more we have to deal with stuff. And I can absolutely understand anybody wanting to moan and complain, but you can only do it for so long. Otherwise it becomes really boring. Judith, you are perfect, and you are going to get healthier and healthier as long as you keep that smile on your face. And I know that you can keep that smile on your face for me. Chris.
Adamanta says, my father passed away and I'm very sad. So she's looking for some help on that.
We're going to put you in the healing book and we're going to send you some healing. And of course, oh darling, of course you're sad. Of course you are. And, it wouldn't be normal or natural. Unfortunately, it is a part of life. I remember when my own father died, and I was devastated for months and months. I mean, it took me 2 or 3 weeks before I could eat properly or even think straight. And my heart goes out to you, and I'm sending you my own special healing energy, because I've been there and I know how it feels. But I think what you need to do is to sort of contemplate or think about, not necessarily with me, but maybe, with someone, find somebody good, find somebody who really knows what they're doing, and see, have a consultation, see if you can talk to your daddy, because I'm sure he's got lots to say to you. All I can tell you is from Grey Eagle, as he's tapping me on the shoulder, he is fine. He made it over and he's fine. Okay, that's it, Chris. How are we doing?
We're getting close to time. Antoinette says, why would someone say fail a lot but try as much?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what that means. I'd like to know who said it, and I'd like to know in which context it was said. Look, in life, whatever we try, I mean, and I don't quite know where you're coming from. Sorry, darling, but I don't quite know where you're coming from with that comment, who said that to you. So I can't comment on why somebody else would say that. What I can say is, in life, I mean, right from the beginning, we fail, we try, we look at, we're babies. We get up, we try walking, we fall down. We get up, we try walking, we fall down. Failure and failing at things is part of life. The thing that we have to try and remember all the time is that, as long as we keep trying, it's okay to fail. It doesn't matter how many times we fail at something, as long as we can keep going and try to succeed, because life is filled with failures of one kind or another. I mean, I might wake up in the morning thinking, I'm going to be nice to everybody today, and then I find myself shouting at my daughter for some reason or another, which is, and then I'm thinking, see, I failed. I thought I'd be nice to everybody today, and now I've just been mean to my daughter. Am I going to, give myself a hard time? No, I'm going to accept. In our humanness, in our human frailties, we fail. We fail at all sorts of things, and we fail all the time. When we put all that effort and energy into making that one cake and then it falls flat on us, and failure or failing at things is part of life. But am I going to stop trying to make the best cake I can? Of course I'm not. I'm going to just keep doing it until I succeed. So failing is part of life, and trying and working at, making our failure that incentive for us to try again and again until we succeed at things. And if every time we tried something we succeeded, well then, then where's the learning process in that? So that's it, Chris. I think we're done, right? Are we done?
Well, let's talk just for a minute about the event that you're going to be at in June, so people still have a chance to sign up for that.
Oh, yes. Go on then.
So you've been invited to be the keynote speaker to do your Friday night.
I'm a keynote speaker. I'm there on Friday night, and then I'm there on Saturday morning. And then it's a weekend event, and I'll be popping in and out as and when. And certainly sharing pizza at some point with everybody. But that's in June. So if you need to sign up again, if you, where are people getting the tickets from?
They can email centaurcourses@gmail.com, centaurcourses@gmail.com for more information.
Or if you really want to know about me and all that I'll be doing, because after all, it is my birthday month, so it is all about me, you can email rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com and ask for more information that way also. So yes, so that's in June. What date in June is it, Chris?
Friday night, June 13th, will be your giving messages, we hope, and then Saturday morning, June 14th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m.
And then, I'll be maybe there sometime on Saturday afternoon or evening to have pizza. You do realize it's Friday the 13th, right?
My lucky day.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of messages, because I don't think that the spirit world is worried about the Friday the 13th in any way, shape, or form. So if you feel a little, what is it?
Superstitious.
Superstitious, that's the word I'm looking for. If you feel a little superstitious, don't be superstitious, because I'm going to be there and I'm going to be having a lot of fun. We're going to have tears and we're going to have laughter, and we're going to have a really joyful time. So again, if you need to know any more about that, email the office, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, put in the subject line conference, and Chris will send you out all the information that you need. We've got a lot going on here, actually.
We really do.
So I'm looking forward to those of you who want to subscribe. We're going to choose our subjects carefully. Gregel and I will be sitting there discussing all sorts of different topics and subjects, from world events to, what happened to me at the supermarket yesterday. We're going to run the whole gamut. We're going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about this world of ours. We're going to be talking about how people respond and react to life. And we're going to be, doing this in a very judgmental way, but in a very spiritual way, being aware of, and you're going to be getting our opinions. And I am going to be straight talking. I can tell you now, I will not be holding back on my opinions. And I think Gregel won't be holding back on his either. So you're going to be hearing some really, really straight talking opinions about what we think is going on in this world of ours. So if you'd like to subscribe, again, email us, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com. I'm really looking forward to getting going with this. We're probably going to be starting this program in July. So you have 6 weeks to get going and to get subscribing as soon as you can. We're only going to have so many places, I think. So, move it, baby. I'm not sure if we're going to limit the places and the spaces, but we'll see how it goes. All right, that's it from me. So thank you very much for joining us. Most important thing I'd like to say is thank you to Gregel for all of his help and his support during this show today. Thank you, Chris, and thank you all of you for joining us and all of your great comments. We love we love hearing your opinions on things. And please, please, please have a very blessed rest of the day, everybody, and have a very blessed weekend.